Well, greetings and salutations, everyone. I hope everyone is still doing well. Welcome back to tonight's second half. Before we get into tonight's second half, a couple links. As you know, I rely on Patreon, PayPal, and the merch to help the channel to continue to grow and go. Links to Patreon and PayPal are in the description below, the merch displayed directly under the video. Also, Dogman, Frightening Encounters, Volume 1 through 3, the audiobook versions. They were written and researched by Tom Lyons, narrated and produced by me, Jeff Nadolny. Those audiobooks are available on Audible, Amazon, and iTunes, the links to which are also in the description as well. And finally, last but definitely not least, if you'd really like to help support this channel to continue to grow and go, simply subscribe. It doesn't cost you a cent. Click that like button. It takes half a second. If you don't want to miss out on any of the informative uploads I put out daily, click that bell icon and please leave a comment. Why? Well, because all this really does help this channel to continue to grow and go. And folks, it really does matter. Now, everyone, I have taken far too much of your time. Let's get on with tonight's second half, shall we? Alright guys, before we jump into it, wow, what a very hot day in the East Coast. Well, in the Adirondacks at least, it's been pretty hot. I don't know anywhere else, but my God, I thought about going out to where Tom Mezek disappeared today because my daughter went to see her mom, and I'm still gonna put it off for a little bit more. I want to get the trail cams. I've got a very good idea, and I'll share that maybe in tomorrow's upload, but I think I may be able to figure out what is up there and not put myself in danger. But anyway, let's get into tonight's second half. Let's start the second half out with a very terrifying video footage of something stalking. I believe this is a homeowner. He must have seen some eye shine in his backyard or woods behind his home or whatever, and for some reason decided to go out in his backyard or into these woods with a camera and a flashlight, or either or, just his phone. And he's out there. He does see some eye shine. And then towards the end of the clip, there is a very guttural, horrifying growl. And it really is. If this is a legit clip, it's terrifying. Let's check it out.
What is that? Like eye shine. Whoa. Should I whistle? Whistling was a bad idea. Walk down there. I'm gonna try one last thing, tree knock. Where are you at?
That is very disturbing, especially when you hear that growl. Uh, you can hear the fear in his voice as he's looking around, and then the growl happens. Like, he had the eye shine, he lost the eye shine, the growl happens. To me, it would have been time to leave immediately. So, let's get into some encounters. I tucked this away, and I've never shared this before. We live in Southern California, east of LA, and this incident occurred in 1996. My wife and I were leaving home early this particular morning. It was still dark. As we are trying to get onto a major highway near our home, when we hit something coming out of a residential construction area. It ran extremely fast in front of our car. I had no time to stop, so I hit the thing. I came to a stop as soon as possible. I told my wife I was going to get out and take a look at what I had hit. She begged me not to get out of the car. I was sure I had hit a dog. I stepped out, and as I rounded the car, the headlights of my car shone upon something that I had never seen before. It was disturbing. I backed up a little bit and realized that what I had hit was not a dog. I've owned and trained large dogs most of my life, but nothing compared to the size of this thing. Nothing about it resembled what I would say was a domesticated canine. Everything about this was wild and bulky. It had what looked like a lion's mane. It had teeth that looked like it come out of a Hollywood horror movie. I cannot even begin to describe the fright I had seeing this thing. I backed up a little more. I could see its teeth were unusually big and sharp, and there was a pool of blood forming underneath its mouth. Its eyes were open, but yet it wasn't moving. I could still see the bright amber color in its eyes. My wife stepped out of the car and asked what it was. I said, I don't know. We got back in. I backed up and drove around it. I said if it's still there when we got back home, I would take a closer look. Later that day, when we got back, it was gone. A dried pool of blood was the only evidence that remained. To this day, we have kept quiet about this incident. Now, 26 years later, I feel compelled to come forth. Not because I feel guilty about what I experienced, but because I had another unexplained sighting. We live in the same house as we did the previous encounter. One evening, I was a few blocks away from my house, going through a home I was getting ready to sell. I'm a realtor, and I own my own real estate business. When I was finished, I exited the front door of the house, walked to my car that was parked in the driveway, and got in. As I backed out onto the street, I observed a large, upright beast cross behind me. I immediately stopped and looked out the passenger window. The creature was running on two legs in between houses in the neighbor's property. I sat in my car dumbfounded by what I had just seen. Then I had a flashback to the incident in 1996. I quickly realized that this was either the same creature or something very, very similar. That was the last time I had seen this creature, but now I realize that there is an unknown upright canine creature living in this area. Thinking back to the latest encounter, I estimated it was easily over 8 feet in height, and it had a very human-like gait while it was running. I have read about these Dogman and upright canines, and now I do believe what I saw on both occasions was a Dogman. Alright, so the second video clip of the day is an actual trail cam, and it catches a coyote kind of sniffing around. The coyote kind of looks at the game cam. I don't know if it's because it's in the open or maybe there is a light that it caught. As the coyote is sniffing around, there is a pair of large glowing eyes behind it. The coyote then turns and looks in that location where those eyes just were. Unfortunately, there isn't any more of this footage available, but this is what I'm offering. Check it out. Now, like all video clips that I've ever shared, except the one from Kurt Stokes, I am not going to say this is real, but if it is, man, it is creepy. So, what do you guys think? I mean, all right, you see the coyote, the eye shine behind it, the coyote looks at the camera kinda, and then turns, like it knows there's something back there. To me, oh God, I'm right there. I am right there. Anyway, let's get into another encounter. I just heard about the realtor that had seen a dogman in the San Bernardino County, California area. I saw a dogman in the North Vermont area of Devore, California in 1998. I'd grown up there. I personally know others who have seen the same creature in the same general area. This is no hoax. Anyone who has lived in that area for a long time will tell you they've either experienced or heard strange stories of strange things roaming around those wilderness. At the time, it was still a very rural and undeveloped area. I had a conversation with a native man from the San Manuel tribal band of Mission Native people. He told me that he believed it may have been a medicine man from his tribe. And we were lucky to have even seen this creature, as many of their people have only heard stories and never seen one for themselves. I was 13 or 14 at the time. That night my band had played Battle of the Band show at the Showcase Theater in Corona. When we came home from the show, I went to the side of the house near the shed to take a leak and smoke a cigarette that I had stashed. I looked out into the field and gazed into the trees, a very familiar scene that I have known my entire life. I know that landscape perfectly, but one thing was out of place. I couldn't tell what it was that I was seeing. What I saw was what appeared at first to be a man walking, then running through the field on the side of my parents' house. It was in the early morning hours, maybe 1 or 2 a.m. This was extremely out of ordinary. For the time and place, no one would ever be out there. Its movements did not look normal. Its legs were funny. Then I noticed it had a dog-like head, like a coyote or German shepherd. It was heading north toward the mountains, with the strangest movements. I cannot describe it. It was very unnatural. Eventually, it was out of my view. I can't remember if I heard a sound from it running. It was far enough away that I don't recall how it sounded. I just can't forget how strange it looked while it was running or galloping. I'm not sure the word to use to describe its movements. Wow. All right. That kind of really added some solidness towards the first encounter. The next video clip is a family hiking, and they spot what appears to be a Bigfoot. I'm not sure. You guys decide. I'm just sharing the video clip with you all. Check it out.
Look.
A human. Listening that that's not human. It's not a human. That face is here at first, but no. That is not a human.
Oh my God. Look.
A human. Listening that that's not human. It's not a human. That face is here at first, but no. That is not a human.
Oh my God.
A very interesting video clip. And let's end it with a very terrifying and interesting encounter. Last Saturday, we were hiking in the Belle Plaine State Forest on the East Creek Trail. We're members of a hiking club from outside of Philadelphia that enjoy exploring new locations when we can. We were heading back in the direction to our car, which was parked at a lot approximately 1.5 miles north of us. It was late afternoon, around 6:30 p.m., very warm. This section of the trail had a boardwalk built over a very swampy, thick, brushed forest. We were taking a break. It was very quiet, which we both commented on. As we started to hike north, we both heard deep guttural grunts coming from behind us. As we turned to take a look, a tree in the distance was shaking violently. It was difficult to determine the size of that tree, but it was tall enough that we could easily see it. Seconds later, we heard a loud crash from the northwestern direction. As this was going on, the deep grunts were getting louder. Then we heard another crash sound coming from the northwest. We're now hiking along the trail at a good clip, even though we had our gear on. We could hear the sounds continuing back and forth, as if it was a competition. I'm not going to lie, I was terrified, my friend frantic, and had created some space between us. After several minutes, the noise subsided, but we were still on edge. It wasn't long before we reached the car. We discussed our experience during the drive home. We were both thinking possibly Sasquatch because of the tree being shook and the back and forth sounds. My friend had a possible Sasquatch sighting when she was younger while camping with her family in the Poconos. She was always weary and on alert when we hiked. Our hiking club had a meeting on Monday. We discussed our outing and what had happened. Most of the group agreed that it was a likely pair of Sasquatch. Several of our members have had odd encounters during their hikes. The stories are noteworthy and incredible, but until now, I didn't give their recollections much thought or credibility. I'm really not sure if there have been Sasquatch sightings in southern New Jersey. People constantly discuss the Jersey Devil and other weird things in the area, but I haven't heard a Bigfoot located there. Well, according to a guest that I've had on and a friend of mine, Paul Pedersen Jr., there is Bigfoot, the Jersey Devil, Dogman, and many other haunts in that area of, well, in all of the Pine Barrens. So, all right, guys, some very interesting video clips. I will never say, hey, these are 100% real. I also will very seldomly give my opinion on any kind of video clip because I don't want to affect your opinion or your decision. I just share them because I find them interesting. You might find them interesting. If you've seen them already, that's awesome. But, you know, there are people that haven't. So, anyway, guys, with that, stay safe, happy, healthy. Thank you for supporting the channel. I really am blessed to have such a backing. During the live stream, I really feel like we are a family, so thank you. And please, you know, we are in the peak season of camping, outdoors, enjoyment, vacations, boating, whatever, hiking. You know, these things are out there. These things are real. They are watching our pets, our children, our loved ones. And it's our responsibility, because we know these things exist, to keep them informed or safe at least. So with that, God bless you all.